Ladies and gentlemen, when we think about danger, we often imagine external threats, storms, wild animals, or adversaries. But today I invite you to consider a different kind of danger. One that is quiet, deliberate, and transformative. The power of a woman who spends time alone. The concept of solitude often carries a stigma in a world that glorifies constant connection and external validation. However, solitude is not isolation, nor is it loneliness. It is a deliberate choice to step back from the noise and immerse oneself in silence. For a woman who embraces solitude, this becomes a transformative space where she can cultivate self-awareness and emotional strength. In the quiet moments, stripped of distractions and societal pressures, she is able to confront her thoughts, her fears, and her aspirations without interference. This kind of introspection is not easy. It requires courage to face oneself honestly and patience to sit with unresolved questions. But it is precisely in this discomfort that growth occurs. By spending time alone, she learns to differentiate between the voices of others and her own. This clarity of self, knowing who she is, what she values, and what she stands for, is the foundation of her strength. Solitude becomes her training ground, where she sharpens her resilience and discovers that her sense of identity is not dependent on anyone else. It is a reclamation of power, an act of self-possession that allows her to stand tall, unshaken by the judgments or expectations of the world. A woman who understands this is dangerous because she draws her strength from within, an inexhaustible source that external circumstances cannot deplete. Self-sufficiency is one of the most powerful qualities a person can develop, and for a woman who spends time alone, it becomes second nature. In solitude, she learns to navigate life on her own terms, unburdened by the need for external validation or dependency on others. This is not about rejecting relationships or community, but about cultivating an inner resourcefulness that ensures her stability and independence, regardless of external circumstances. When a woman is alone, she becomes her own source of comfort, support, and guidance. She learns to solve her problems without seeking immediate rescue, to find joy without relying on others to provide it, and to make decisions grounded in her own wisdom and understanding. This process of self-reliance is not instantaneous. It is built gradually through moments of challenge and triumph, through missteps and corrections. Over time, she becomes someone who can stand firm in the face of uncertainty, not because she has all the answers, but because she trusts her ability to find them. What makes this so powerful is that self-sufficiency eliminates the fear of being alone. She does not cling to relationships or situations out of neediness or insecurity. Instead, she chooses them freely, knowing that she is whole on her own. This freedom from dependence is what allows her to live authentically. She can walk away from anything that does not serve her growth or align with her values, because she knows she has the strength to thrive on her own. Her self-sufficiency is not a barrier to connection, but rather a foundation for deeper and healthier relationships. Because she does not rely on others to complete her, she can approach others from a place of mutual respect and partnership. This balance makes her presence magnetic. People are drawn to her strength and independence, even if they cannot fully understand it. It is this quiet confidence, born of self-reliance, that makes her truly formidable. Spending time alone allows a woman to engage in deep introspection, a practice that often goes neglected in the fast-paced, externally focused world we live in. When the distractions of daily life are removed, she has the space to turn her attention inward, examining her thoughts, emotions, and experiences with greater clarity. This introspection is not merely a passive exercise, it is an active process of uncovering truths about herself and her place in the world. Through this deliberate reflection, she begins to recognize patterns both in her own behavior and in the dynamics around her. She can identify what drives her, what fulfills her, and what holds her back. This understanding is transformative because it equips her with the self-awareness needed to make intentional choices rather than reactive ones. She learns to separate what is truly important from what is merely urgent, aligning her actions with her values and long-term goals. Moreover, introspection allows her to confront her fears and insecurities head-on. In solitude, there is no one to distract her from these uncomfortable truths, but there is also no one to judge her for them. She can sit with her vulnerabilities, process them, and ultimately transform them into strengths. This process deepens her emotional resilience and sharpens her ability to face challenges with grace and composure. This level of self-awareness also enhances her ability to understand others. By delving deeply into her own motivations and emotions, she develops empathy and a nuanced perspective on human behavior. She becomes better equipped to navigate relationships and social situations, not through manipulation or pretense, but through genuine understanding and connection. Her introspection does not isolate her, it equips her to engage with the world in a more authentic and impactful way. Ultimately, this depth of introspection becomes a source of inner peace. She knows herself, her strengths, her weaknesses, and her purpose, and this knowledge anchors her in a world that is often chaotic and uncertain. It is this grounded, self-aware presence that makes her not just an individual, but a force to be reckoned with. Spending time alone fosters the mastery of emotions in a way that few other experiences can. In solitude, a woman is left with her feelings, both positive and negative, without the distractions or filters that often come from the presence of others. This undiluted exposure to her emotional landscape forces her to confront, understand, and ultimately regulate her emotions in a profound way. When alone, there is no external validation to suppress insecurities, no comforting words to soften the sting of discomfort, and no external energy to distract her from her internal state. Instead, she must sit with her feelings, whether they are joy, anger, sadness, or fear. In doing so, she learns to recognize the root causes of these emotions rather than merely reacting to them. This awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, a deep understanding of why she feels what she feels and how to respond constructively. Over time, she develops the ability to process her emotions rather than suppressing or being overwhelmed by them. She becomes adept at managing her inner storms, finding calm in the chaos and cultivating a sense of emotional stability that does not depend on external circumstances. This mastery is not about denying emotions or becoming unfeeling. It is about integrating them into her life in a way that empowers her rather than controls her. The emotional strength she gains through solitude also gives her a unique resilience. She learns to self-soothe, to draw on her inner resources for comfort and strength, and to navigate life's challenges with a steady hand. She is not easily thrown off course by external pressures because she has developed an unshakable foundation within herself. This resilience allows her to face adversity with clarity and courage, turning even the most difficult experiences into opportunities for growth. Furthermore, this emotional mastery enhances her relationships with others. By understanding her own emotions, she becomes more empathetic and attuned to the feelings of those around her. She communicates with authenticity and listens with intention, creating deeper and more meaningful connections. She is not reactive or defensive because she does not let her emotions dictate her actions. Instead, she chooses her responses thoughtfully and intentionally. This ability to manage emotions with grace and strength makes her a calming and stabilizing presence. She is the type of person who can navigate conflict without being consumed by it, who can inspire confidence in others simply by being grounded, and who can lead with compassion and wisdom. Through solitude, she transforms her emotional world into a source of power, turning her feelings into tools for understanding, growth, and connection. When a woman spends time alone, she develops an unshakable confidence that stems not from external sources, but from the depths of her own being. In solitude, she discovers that her worth is intrinsic, not dependent on the opinions, validations, or judgments of others. This realization is a transformative shift that frees her from the societal pressures to conform, compete, or constantly seek approval. Solitude provides her with the opportunity to explore her strengths, abilities, and desires without comparison or distraction. She comes to understand what she is capable of achieving, not because someone told her so, but because she has proven it to herself. This kind of confidence is deeply rooted. It does not waver in the face of criticism or falter in moments of uncertainty. It is the quiet assurance that comes from knowing who she is and trusting in her ability to navigate the world on her terms. This confidence is not loud or boastful. It does not seek the spotlight or demand attention. Instead, it is steady, understated, and powerful. It allows her to move through life with a sense of purpose and self-assuredness that others can feel even before she speaks. People are drawn to her because her presence exudes authenticity. She does not try to be anything other than herself. And in a world full of pretense, that authenticity is magnetic. Her confidence also allows her to embrace failure as a natural part of growth. She does not fear making mistakes because she knows they do not define her. Instead, she views setbacks as opportunities to learn and improve, further solidifying her belief in her own resilience. This perspective gives her the courage to take risks, pursue her ambitions, and stand firm in her decisions, even when the path ahead is uncertain. Moreover, her self-assurance enables her to set boundaries and prioritize her well-being. She is not afraid to say no, to walk away from situations or relationships that do not align with her values, or to stand up for herself when necessary. Her confidence empowers her to demand respect, not through force or aggression, but simply by knowing her own worth and refusing to accept anything less. In solitude, she builds this foundation of confidence brick by brick. Each moment spent understanding herself, each challenge she overcomes on her own, and each quiet victory adds to her belief in her own capabilities. This inner confidence becomes her armor, allowing her to face the world with a strength that is both profound and unshakable. It is not just a belief in herself, it is an unwavering certainty that she has everything she needs within her to thrive. Time spent alone sharpens a woman's ability to think critically, an invaluable skill that sets her apart in a world saturated with noise and distractions. When she steps away from the constant flow of opinions, advice, and societal pressure, she gains the mental clarity needed to analyze situations objectively and arrive at her own conclusions. Solitude provides her with the mental space to question, evaluate, and refine her perspectives without external interference. In solitude, she learns the importance of asking the right questions. She becomes curious about the why and how behind everything she encounters, whether it's her own thoughts, the behavior of others, or the systems and structures around her. This curiosity drives her to dig deeper, to look beyond surface appearances, and to uncover underlying truths. Without the immediate influence of others' views, her thinking becomes her own, unfiltered, original, and authentic. This critical thinking allows her to approach challenges with precision. She does not rush to conclusions or act impulsively. Instead, she takes the time to analyze the situation from multiple angles, considering potential outcomes and weighing her options carefully. This deliberative process makes her a strategic problem solver, someone who is not easily swayed by emotion or panic, but instead relies on logic, reason, and intuition. Furthermore, solitude fosters intellectual independence. She becomes less reliant on external guidance and more confident in her ability to navigate complex issues on her own. This independence does not mean she disregards others' input, but rather that she knows how to critically evaluate it, accepting what aligns with her principles and discarding what does not. Her decisions are thoughtful and intentional, rooted in her own understanding rather than blind acceptance of others' beliefs. Her critical thinking also makes her a discerning observer of the world around her. She can identify patterns, recognize inconsistencies, and detect hidden motives or biases. This awareness equips her to navigate life with a level of insight that many lack. Whether she is making personal decisions, engaging in professional endeavors, or interacting with others, her ability to think critically gives her a distinct advantage. This sharpened intellect also strengthens her sense of autonomy. She is not easily influenced by societal expectations or groupthink, because she has the confidence to trust her own reasoning. Her critical thinking empowers her to challenge the status quo, to question traditions or norms that do not serve her, and to carve out her own path. It is through this independence of thought that she becomes not just a thinker, but a creator, someone who shapes her reality, rather than simply adapting to it. In solitude, she develops the discipline to engage deeply with ideas, to seek understanding rather than superficial answers, and to trust in her ability to make sound judgments. This intellectual strength becomes one of her most powerful tools, enabling her to navigate life with clarity, purpose, and an unshakable sense of self-reliance. Solitude is a fertile ground for creativity, offering a space where the mind can roam freely, uninhibited by the demands and distractions of the external world. When a woman spends time alone, she is not only allowed but encouraged to explore new ideas, think outside conventional boundaries, and experiment without the fear of judgment or failure. In these quiet moments, her mind can connect disparate thoughts and concepts, weaving them together into innovative solutions, artistic expressions, or new perspectives. Without the constant influence of others' expectations, she is free to follow her own creative impulses, whether they lead her down a familiar path or into uncharted territory. There is no pressure to conform to popular trends, no need to measure her creativity against others. This freedom allows her to explore her own voice, to experiment, and to evolve her ideas in a way that feels authentic and uninhibited. Creativity in solitude becomes a deeply personal process, one that is not shaped by external feedback but is instead guided by her own desires and instincts. In solitude, she also cultivates the patience required to nurture her creativity. While the world often demands quick results, time alone allows her to dig deeper, to take the time to refine her ideas and to bring them to fruition without the urgency of deadlines or societal expectations. This slower, more deliberate approach encourages her to dive into nuances of her work, to explore it from every angle, and to develop it in a way that feels truly her own. This unhurried approach leads to a more profound and thoughtful form of creativity, one that is more lasting and meaningful. Moreover, time alone fosters a sense of curiosity that sparks new creative ventures. Without the distractions of a busy, interconnected world, she can engage with her environment more deeply, observing small details and finding inspiration in the most unlikely places. She begins to see connections that others might miss, drawing upon her experiences, knowledge, and emotions to create something unique. These moments of creative inspiration are often the result of the mental space created by solitude, where her mind can wander freely, unfettered by the constraints of practicality or expectation. Solitude also allows her to take creative risks. There is no fear of judgment when she is alone. Instead, she can push herself to explore unfamiliar forms, ideas, or expressions that might otherwise feel too risky or unconventional. She becomes bolder in her thinking, less afraid of failing, because she knows that in solitude, failure is simply another opportunity to learn and grow. This confidence to take risks can lead to unexpected breakthroughs, new discoveries, and a deeper understanding of her creative potential. Through solitude, she is able to cultivate a sense of freedom that nourishes her creativity. She is not bound by the limitations imposed by others or by the constraints of the everyday world. Instead, she is free to imagine, to create, and to innovate in ways that feel true to herself. This creative power, born from solitude, is a force that can shape her world and the world around her. It is a quiet revolution, one that brings new ideas to life, enriches her personal journey, and has the potential to inspire and impact others in profound ways. A woman who spends time alone develops an immunity to manipulation. The very act of being self-sufficient and grounded in her own sense of self provides a powerful defense against external influences that seek to shape her thoughts, desires, or behaviors for their own gain. When she is comfortable with solitude, she is not driven by a need for approval, attention, or external validation. This autonomy makes her less susceptible to the subtle or overt pressures that others may exert to manipulate or control her. In solitude, she develops a strong sense of self-worth that is not dependent on others' opinions. She knows her values, her boundaries, and her desires, and she holds them firmly. This clarity makes her immune to the tactics that often prey on insecurity, such as guilt-tripping, flattery, or persuasion rooted in fear or shame. She can see through attempts to manipulate her emotions or actions, because she understands her own emotional landscape and is not easily swayed by external pressures. Her independence also allows her to maintain objectivity in situations where others might be swayed by manipulation. She does not feel compelled to follow the crowd, conform to social expectations, or act out of a desire to please. She can stand firm in her decisions and actions, regardless of whether others approve. This resistance to influence creates a sense of unshakable confidence and resilience that others can sense, making it harder for anyone to gain control over her. Additionally, solitude teaches her the importance of setting boundaries. When she is alone, she has the space to understand what is acceptable to her and what is not. She learns to communicate these boundaries clearly and confidently, ensuring that her interactions are based on mutual respect and understanding rather than manipulation or coercion. She is not afraid to say no when necessary, and she does so with the knowledge that she does not need to justify or explain herself. This ability to assert herself in relationships, both personal and professional, keeps manipulation at bay. Her emotional intelligence, developed through introspection and solitude, further strengthens her ability to detect manipulation. She becomes skilled at reading between the lines, recognizing when someone is trying to influence her for selfish reasons and responding in a way that maintains her autonomy. Whether it's a subtle play for sympathy or a more overt attempt at control, she can see through these tactics and protect herself from being drawn into unhealthy dynamics. This immunity to manipulation also extends to her professional and social interactions. She is not easily swayed by persuasive arguments or the opinions of others simply because they hold power or authority. She questions motives, seeks out the truth, and makes decisions based on her own assessment rather than external pressure. This level of discernment makes her a formidable presence, as she cannot be easily led astray by those who seek to manipulate her for their own gain. Ultimately, her independence and emotional clarity make her impervious to manipulation, as she is able to see beyond the surface and recognize attempts to influence her decisions. This resilience ensures that her actions and choices are always her own, not shaped by the desires or agendas of others. She is free to live authentically, unburdened by the need to conform or be controlled, and in doing so, she becomes a powerful force that cannot be easily swayed. Spending time alone strengthens a woman's ability to focus deeply, allowing her to hone her attention on the tasks and goals that matter most to her. In a world that constantly demands multitasking and divides our attention in countless directions, solitude provides the space for deep, sustained concentration. It is in these moments of quiet that she can immerse herself fully in her pursuits, whether they are personal, creative, or professional, without being pulled in 1,000 different directions. In solitude, distractions fall away, and the mind is freed from the constant bombardment of external stimuli. This clarity enables her to engage with her work or passions in a more meaningful and productive way. She can enter into a state of flow where time seems to dissolve and her efforts are effortless because her full attention is directed toward the task at hand. This depth of focus allows her to achieve a level of mastery and creativity that is not possible when constantly distracted or fragmented. The ability to focus also empowers her to set and achieve long-term goals. In solitude, she has the space to think critically about what she truly wants to achieve, breaking down her larger goals into smaller, actionable steps. With this clear vision, she is able to direct her energy and efforts toward those goals with unwavering determination. The longer periods of uninterrupted focus allow her to make consistent progress, building momentum and achieving more than she might in a more distracted or busy environment. Moreover, solitude cultivates a sense of discipline and patience. Focus is not a skill that comes naturally to many. It requires practice, intention, and a commitment to staying present. In these moments of solitude, a woman learns to resist the urge to check her phone, browse social media, or engage in other distractions. Instead, she trains her mind to stay on task, cultivating a deep sense of inner discipline. This ability to stay focused for long periods not only enhances her productivity, but also her capacity to problem solve and innovate. The longer she can hold her attention on a problem or project, the more likely she is to uncover solutions and insights that others might miss in their distracted haste. This strength and ability to focus also extends to her personal growth. In solitude, she can reflect on her progress, evaluate her behavior, and assess her values without outside influence. She can focus on what truly matters to her, carving out space to nurture her mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Through this kind of introspection, she develops the self-awareness needed to continue evolving and growing in the direction of her true desires. Her enhanced focus gives her a competitive edge in both her personal and professional life. In a society that is often fragmented and overstimulated, a woman who can maintain sustained attention is a force to be reckoned with. She can outpace those who are constantly distracted, completing tasks with greater efficiency and producing work of higher quality. This ability to focus also makes her a leader, as she can direct her energy and resources toward long-term projects, inspiring others with her unwavering commitment vision. Ultimately, the solitude she embraces sharpens her ability to focus, creating a powerful sense of purpose and direction in her life. With her attention fully aligned with her goals, she is able to accomplish things with precision and mastery, carving a path forward that is uniquely solely her own. In this space of deep concentration, she is able to bring her fullest potential to life. Solitude provides a unique opportunity for a woman to develop a strong sense of discipline. In the quiet moments when she is alone, without the demands of others or the pressures of society, she is given the space to structure her time, set personal goals, and stay focused on her responsibilities. This self-regulation is a key component of success, as it allows her to remain consistent in her actions, make intentional progress, and keep moving forward despite challenges or distractions. The discipline that arises from solitude is not about rigid rules or external expectations, but about an internal commitment to her own growth and well-being. When alone, she learns to create routines that support her goals, whether they are related to health, career, creativity, or personal development. She is able to prioritize her time without feeling overwhelmed by competing demands, and she develops the willpower to follow through on commitments to herself, even when the initial excitement wanes. In solitude, she must rely on her own motivation. There is no one around to push her or provide external validation. She learns to be self-driven, finding satisfaction and fulfillment in her own progress rather than in the approval or recognition of others. This internal source of motivation becomes a powerful tool, as it allows her to continue working toward her goals, even when faced with obstacles or setbacks. Over time, she builds a deep reservoir of resilience, learning that the key to success is not in waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances, but in consistently showing up and putting in the effort. Solitude also teaches her to delay gratification. In a world that often seeks instant rewards, she learns the value of working toward long-term outcomes and the satisfaction that comes from putting in the effort over time. She understands that true success is not a quick fix, but a gradual process that requires patience, perseverance, and consistent action. This delayed gratification allows her to make decisions that are aligned with her long-term vision, rather than being swayed by short-term impulses or temptations. The discipline cultivated in solitude is not only about work or achievement, but also about self-care. She learns to prioritize her mental, emotional, and physical well-being, recognizing that true discipline is holistic and encompasses all aspects of her life. By dedicating time to rest, reflection, and rejuvenation, she ensures that she can continue to show up as her best self in all areas of her life. This balance between productivity and self-care is a cornerstone of her overall success, allowing her to sustain her efforts over the long haul without burning out or losing sight of her deeper needs. Furthermore, solitude strengthens her ability to make difficult decisions with clarity and confidence. With no external noise clouding her judgment, she can weigh the pros and cons, consider the long-term impact of her choices, and stay true to her values. This discipline in decision-making extends beyond everyday choices and into major life decisions such as career changes, relationship dynamics, or personal growth. She becomes adept at following her intuition, guided by her own inner compass rather than the fleeting opinions of others. Ultimately, the discipline that arises from solitude is not about achieving perfection or adhering to rigid structures. It is about learning to trust herself, staying consistent with her values, and creating a life that is aligned with her true desires. This discipline, nurtured in the quiet of her own company, becomes a powerful force that propels her toward her goals, helping her navigate the complexities of life with grace, strength, and unwavering purpose. Spending time alone fosters an environment where a woman can cultivate profound resilience. In solitude, she faces herself, her thoughts, and her emotions without the distractions or external pressures that often mask her true feelings. This allows her to confront challenges head-on, developing the emotional and mental fortitude to navigate difficult situations with grace and strength. The solitude becomes a testing ground where she learns to endure hardship, recover from setbacks, and build a robust internal foundation that supports her through life's inevitable trials. This resilience is not a result of avoiding adversity, but rather of learning to thrive in its presence. When she is alone, she does not have the immediate comfort of others to rely on, nor the external distractions that might provide temporary relief. Instead, she learns to sit with discomfort, to process emotions without running from them, and to understand that hardship is not a reflection of her weakness, but a natural part of life's journey. Over time, this repeated exposure to challenging experiences, combined with introspection, strengthens her ability to remain composed and resolute in the face of adversity. Resilience, born of solitude, also cultivates a deep sense of self-trust. When a woman is alone, she comes to understand that she is capable of facing whatever life throws her way. In these quiet moments, she reflects on past challenges she has overcome, realizing that she has always had the strength within her to persevere. This self-trust does not come from seeking approval or reassurance from others. It is built from the knowledge that she can rely on her own inner resources. Whether facing personal hardships, professional obstacles, or emotional struggles, she knows that she has the resilience to weather the storm and emerge stronger. Additionally, solitude encourages emotional regulation, a critical component of resilience. In isolation, she becomes attuned to her emotional state, recognizing when she is becoming overwhelmed, anxious, or upset. Rather than being consumed by these feelings, she learns to manage them, channeling them in constructive ways. This emotional control enables her to approach challenges with a calm and steady demeanor rather than being driven by panic, fear, or impulsive reactions. She is not immune to emotional turmoil, but she is equipped with the tools to navigate it with poise and understanding. The resilience developed in solitude also leads to an increased ability to adapt. In times of change or uncertainty, a woman who has spent significant time alone is less likely to be rattled by unexpected shifts in her environment. She has learned that change is inevitable and that flexibility is a necessary skill. Solitude allows her to practice adaptability, preparing her mentally and emotionally to embrace the unknown. This ability to pivot, adjust, and find new paths forward in difficult circumstances is one of the hallmarks of true resilience. Furthermore, solitude helps her build a mental toughness that is not about being unfeeling or indifferent to hardship, but about maintaining clarity and purpose in the face of difficulty. She learns not to become consumed by negative thoughts or self-doubt, but instead to anchor herself in her values, her strengths, and her capacity for growth. This inner resolve enables her to persist when others may give up, to keep moving forward when the path seems uncertain, and to face challenges with an unwavering belief that she can overcome them. The resilience that arises from spending time alone also translates into a deeper sense of autonomy. As she becomes more accustomed to managing her thoughts, emotions, and challenges independently, she builds a sense of empowerment. She no longer feels beholden to others for her sense of security or stability. Instead, she knows that her strength comes from within. This self-sufficiency allows her to navigate life on her own terms, unafraid of facing the difficulties that come her way. In solitude, a woman transforms adversity into a powerful tool for growth, shaping her into a person who is not only capable of enduring but thriving. Through this process, she becomes more than just someone who survives life's challenges. She becomes someone who rises stronger, wiser, and more confident with each experience. The resilience she develops in solitude becomes an integral part of her identity, a source of strength that carries her through life's inevitable ups and downs. Time alone allows a woman to tap into a deeper understanding of her own emotions, thoughts, and desires. This introspective process enables her to cultivate emotional intelligence, an invaluable skill that strengthens both her personal and professional life. In solitude, she learns to connect with her inner world, understanding the root causes of her emotions, thoughts, and reactions. This awareness gives her the ability to manage her emotions more effectively, rather than being overwhelmed by them. She becomes less reactive to external circumstances and more capable of responding to them in a measured, thoughtful way. Emotional intelligence also helps her in relationships as she becomes more attuned to the emotions and needs of others. By understanding her own emotions and reactions, she is better able to empathize with the experiences of those around her. This empathy allows her to communicate more effectively, resolve conflicts with greater ease, and build stronger, more supportive relationships. Her heightened emotional awareness makes her a compassionate listener, someone who can offer comfort and understanding when others need it most. In solitude, she also learns to identify patterns in her emotional responses. She becomes more attuned to when she feels triggered, anxious, or upset, and she can pinpoint the underlying causes of these emotions. This insight enables her to make conscious decisions about how to handle challenging emotions, rather than allowing them to control her. She is able to pause, reflect, and choose the most appropriate course of action, whether that involves seeking support, practicing self-care, or addressing the issue at hand directly. Furthermore, solitude allows her to develop emotional resilience. As she faces difficult emotions in a quiet and non-judgmental environment, she builds the capacity to cope with life's challenges. She learns that emotions, even the most intense or painful ones, are temporary and can be processed with patience and self-compassion. By sitting with her feelings rather than avoiding or suppressing them, she becomes better equipped to handle emotional stress in the future. This resilience allows her to bounce back from setbacks, recover from disappointments, and continue moving forward with greater emotional strength. Another aspect of emotional intelligence cultivated through solitude is the ability to set healthy emotional boundaries. She learns to recognize when she is feeling drained, overwhelmed, or emotionally compromised, and she understands the importance of setting boundaries to protect her well-being. Whether it's saying no to a request, taking time for herself, or distancing herself from toxic influences, she becomes more adept at advocating for her own emotional health. This ability to prioritize her own emotional needs strengthens her sense of self-worth and ensures that she can engage in relationships in a healthy, balanced way. As her emotional intelligence grows, she becomes more self-aware, understanding the deeper motivations behind her actions and decisions. She reflects on her past experiences, gaining insight into how her emotional patterns have shaped her life. This self-awareness allows her to make more intentional decisions, align her actions with her values, and create a life that feels authentic and true to her. She understands the role her emotions play in shaping her reality, and she uses this understanding to navigate life with greater clarity and purpose. Solitude also enhances her ability to manage stress and anxiety. As she becomes more familiar with her emotional triggers and responses, she is able to practice techniques like mindfulness, deep breathing, or journaling to calm her mind and regain emotional equilibrium. She understands that stress is a natural part of life, but knows how to respond to it in ways that preserve her mental and emotional well-being. This mastery over her emotions gives her a sense of control and empowers her to face challenges without being overwhelmed by them. In solitude, a woman learns to embrace her emotions without judgment. Rather than labeling her feelings as good or bad, she accepts them as part of the human experience, understanding that each emotion has a purpose and a lesson to offer. Through this process, she develops a healthier relationship with herself and her emotions, allowing her to move through life with a deeper sense of emotional intelligence, self-acceptance, and resilience. Spending time alone allows a woman to sharpen her decision-making abilities. When removed from the noise and influence of others, she is given the space to think clearly, weigh her options, and make choices that align with her true desires and values. In solitude, there is no pressure to conform to external expectations, no need to seek validation or approval from others. Instead, she is free to listen to her own intuition, reflect on her past experiences, and consider the long-term consequences of her actions. This freedom enables her to make decisions with confidence and clarity, without being swayed by the opinions or desires of others. In these moments of solitude, she is also better able to tune into her inner voice, which serves as a guiding compass when making choices. Without distraction, she can quiet the external noise and listen to her instincts. This intuitive guidance often reveals the best course of action, even when logic alone might not provide all the answers. The clarity that comes from solitude empowers her to trust her gut feelings and make decisions that feel authentic and aligned with her true self. The time alone also allows her to step back and gain perspective. In the busyness of daily life, it can be difficult to see the bigger picture, but solitude offers the chance to reflect on past decisions and their outcomes. By examining the consequences of her choices, she gains valuable insights into her decision-making patterns, helping her make better informed choices in the future. She learns from her mistakes and successes alike, adjusting her approach to decision-making based on what she's learned through introspection and reflection. Furthermore, time alone offers the opportunity to practice patience and discernment. Decision-making often requires careful thought and consideration, particularly when faced with complex or high-stakes choices. In solitude, she can take her time, allowing herself to avoid impulsive decisions driven by emotional reactions or external pressures. She can explore different possibilities, weigh the pros and cons, and allow herself the necessary space to arrive at the best possible conclusion. This patience ensures that her decisions are not rushed but are made with intentionality and a full understanding of their potential impact. Additionally, solitude allows her to cultivate the self-confidence needed to make decisions independently. Without seeking constant reassurance from others, she learns to trust her own judgment and instincts. She becomes less reliant on the opinions of friends, family, or colleagues, and more secure in her ability to navigate the world on her own terms. This self-assurance makes her less vulnerable to doubt or second-guessing, allowing her to make bold decisions when necessary and stand by them with conviction. In solitude, a woman also develops a deeper understanding of her priorities and goals, which further enhances her decision-making ability. When she is not distracted by the demands or expectations of others, she can reflect on what truly matters to her. This sense of clarity about her values and aspirations allows her to make decisions that are in alignment with her long-term vision, rather than being swayed by short-term pressures or fleeting desires. Her choices become more purposeful and deliberate, rooted in her deeper sense of self. The solitude also strengthens her ability to make difficult decisions. Life is filled with challenging moments where the right choice is not immediately clear, and the fear of making the wrong decision can be paralyzing. However, when alone, she can face these difficult choices with greater composure, as she has learned to trust herself and the decision-making process. She recognizes that no choice is without its challenges or risks, but she is willing to face uncertainty because she knows she has the strength and wisdom to handle whatever arises. Moreover, solitude teaches her the importance of accountability. When she is alone, she takes full responsibility for the decisions she makes. There is no one else to blame for her outcomes, which encourages her to make thoughtful, deliberate choices. This sense of personal responsibility ensures that her decisions reflect her true desires and values, rather than being influenced by the needs or expectations of others. Ultimately, the time she spends alone allows her to become a more decisive, confident, and self-aware individual. With a clearer understanding of her goals, values, and instincts, she is able to make decisions that lead her toward a fulfilling and authentic life. The solitude does not make her decision-making process easier, but it equips her with the clarity, confidence, and inner strength needed to make choices that are truly her own. In conclusion, the woman who spends time alone is not merely isolating herself from the world, she is cultivating the very qualities that empower her to navigate life with resilience, clarity, and purpose. In solitude, she strengthens her independence, sharpens her emotional intelligence, hones her decision-making, and builds a foundation of self-trust that makes her an unstoppable force. It is in these moments of quiet reflection and introspection that she discovers her true strength, learning to weather life's challenges with grace and conviction. The woman who embraces solitude is not dangerous in the sense of harm, but rather in her ability to fiercely protect her authenticity, rise above manipulation, and make choices that are grounded in her deepest values. She becomes a force of transformation not only for herself, but for the world around her. A woman who spends time alone, grounded in self-awareness and purpose, is a woman who can change the course of her own life, and in doing so, inspire others to do the same.